we can talk about the ideas and so forth behind the market, and that gives us one thing. It gives us the direction. So the first thing that we need to understand when looking at a market is, how do we determine where the market direction is likely to be? And then from that we can know whether to run a scan for a long or a scan for a short. And beyond looking at these market dynamics that I've shown you, what I really do, what my specialty is, and what I spent the most amount of research in my 13-year career as a trader, has been on researching efficient ways to find good trades. Because not everyone wants to go through the type of time I've spent learning all this stuff to be able to present this to you tonight. That's taken 13 years of knowledge to get to this point. So I'm here to share those things with you. But in terms of going about making money tomorrow, what are the best things that I can impart is talking about scans. Because once we know what all of these things that we're looking for are, and when we understand that when we see divergences in high-yield bonds and so forth, that means a bear market. Once we know all of this, we don't need to necessarily analyze it every day. We can program this stuff into indicators and algorithms to tell us this, to do this work for us. So I would love you to learn all of the theory behind what empowers our strategies. But I'd also like to provide you with those strategies to do a lot of that work for you. With scanning, the whole idea is to focus on high probability factors. So let me give you an example of a high probability scan looking for a short. We could look for stocks that are in the industry that has the highest amount of insider selling. So we can get our scan to analyze the industry with the highest amount of insider selling, which right now, for example, is asset management companies, catalog and mail order companies like eBay, REITs, retail REITs. Those are the three industries with the highest amount of insider selling. So if you ran our scan tonight, it would search those three industries for stocks with the highest amount of insider and institutional selling, which has happened recently, with high P/E ratios, meaning they're probably overpriced, which are underneath the analyst's target price, that have zero dividend so that there's no attraction to holding on to the stock, that's breaking down through support in one of the highest probability patterns. That would be an example of one of the scans that we use to look for a short. And patterns are important, because just because the market's going to drop, or is very likely to, doesn't mean we just go short any company. We want to look for the highest probability short. And the way we find that is through patterns. And building in these indicators. So, repeat please, sure. When we have determined that a market is either going to go up or likely to go down, we need to then run a scan that will incorporate all of the key ingredients that find the very best stock. A poker player, a successful one, can win the World Series 2 or 3 times. How is that possible? And even if we just look at the final table, how come out of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that apply for the poker World Series, why do we see the same people at the final table, even though it's a game of chance? Right? It's because that successful poker players understand that it's about probability. That you don't go all in on a 6-2 offsuit. You don't go all in without even looking at your cards first. They go all in or play when they understand that the risk is versus the reward and that they are holding a hand that has the highest probability of winning, or a high probability of winning. Now, a poker player often isn't going to know how good his hand is until all the cards are on the table. And it's going to cost them money to find out what hand they have. Everyone would agree? Now, in the stock market, you don't. In the stock market, how good your hand is how good that stock trade's recipe is. So let me give you an example of the best possible short. As I said, a company with a P/E ratio of 800, where the CEO, CFO, the general counsel have all sold $5 million each in the last few weeks. The Twiggs money flow is going opposite direction. It's a head and shoulders pattern that's just breaking support. It's got 0% dividend yield. And the institutions behind the stock, 4 out of the 6 behind them, have all also sold in the last 3 months. Now, and it's got 20% of its available stock are all being bet against by traders out there, despite the stock making new highs recently as the head and shoulders created. Now, don't you think that sounds pretty damn perfect? Oh, and the downside is 40%. And the options only cost 50 cents to take advantage of that move, and if it does happen, they'll be worth $5. Would that not sound like the perfect recipe that if we went back to our earlier question tonight where I said draw the perfect chart, this is the type of chart I would draw for you. And so combined with a high probability pattern, that's what a poker player would call aces. And so the whole idea of tonight is to talk about how we build towards this recipe and then turn it into a scan so we can be efficient. So I'm not saying don't do research. I'm not saying don't listen to ideas from friends in the news. I'm just simply saying that most ideas are usually wrong, and even the good ones that you hear about are often not the right timing. It might be months away until those ideas actually finally perform, or it might be months too late. So what we need to do is if we know what makes a great short or a great long, let's be efficient. So the definition of wealth in my idea is not how much money you make, but how long it takes you to make it. And in the idea of trading, I would much prefer to make 6 to 8% moves on a stock, which obviously is a lot more than in an option, than 10% a month, spending 10 times longer to do it. Which would you prefer? I'd sacrifice a bit of performance for a huge advantage in time and significantly less stress. Not only does using scans arguably, I think, makes you more money, because if you're not stressed and if you know what you're looking for, no matter how much time you spend, you're going to have better results. Most people make bad trades because they're looking at so much garbage. And so they spend their time looking at lots of quantity of trades instead of high quality trades. If you keep changing the variables of what trades look like that you take, you'll never have consistent results. If you're not trading the same pattern with the same underlying weakness or strength, then you're going to have different results. You're going to have you're not going to know the rules for trading it. I would prefer, if you gave me the option, I would prefer to only ever trade head and shoulders every single day with the exact same background, the exact same criteria, every single day, the same trade again and again and again and again. Because then I can use the exact same rules and everything else that matters. This is what you can do with scans. You do have that choice. And that's when we can come back to having specific rules, specializing in knowing that when we run this scan, it's going to bring us 10 stocks that look almost exactly the same with all of the same criteria behind them that make them high probability weak stocks. So this is what we're offering in tonight's webinar, is to teach you this. This is a fully comprehensive course. It's not just a webinar. This course started as a one-lesson webinar, and in the first lesson of this 4-lesson course, we teach you the scans. So we teach you how to, if you watch the first lesson tonight, you'd be able to start scanning tonight. So we've programmed a Twigs money flow indicator into all the popular TradeStation, Thinkorswim, TC2000, Incredible Charts, and a few others. And we've got the scans designed there for you. So in the very first lesson, what you're going to learn is how to, at a click of a button, scan the entire market for the setups that have these the types of things that I've discussed: the insider selling, the money flow going out the back door, the fundamentals are weak. And we actually teach you 2 core scans. One is very fundamentally based, and one is very technically based. And in the market that's probably right around the corner, if not already, these are probably going to be the only 2 scans we use to identify the trades we take for the next few months. So that is what you learn in the first lesson. Now, what do you do if you do not have a charting program? We'll provide one for you. There's a great program. The one that I've been using all night long is Incredible Charts. You can get it for free. And if you do decide to get the paid version, which means you get a few extra features and the data updates a little quicker, it's only about $10 a month. So that's who I use, Incredible Charts. And yeah, so lesson 1 is all about scanning. The other 3 lessons that we created was because, as you've seen tonight, I can't pack enough into one lesson. So we got to the end of lesson 1 and people started asking, but John, this is great, but what if I still struggle with drawing trend lines? And when I run these scans, I think I need help with identifying whether it's the perfect pattern that you've taught us. So lesson 2, 3, and 4 is where we take you further and basically take everything that we've taught you tonight and build on that. We talk about how to identify an oscillating or momentum pattern early. It's easy to see it after the fact, but how do you know a stock is oscillating 5 days into it? How do you know when something turns from oscillating to momentum, when it starts to happen? How do we know where to draw trend lines or measure Fibonacci's from? We teach you that. So it's a very comprehensive course for you to really get to know us very well and be able to take our scans and trade them effectively. And that's basically what the course is about. Isn't there a lag from the time insiders sell before it's reported? Yes, Gary, it is, but it's only about 3 days. What if you don't have a chart program? Yes, sorry, same question. Yes, so we can set you up with one. Does it work on Thinkorswim? Absolutely. Schwab Edge should be fine. If I know Schwab Edge has technical programming in it, so if for some reason you have a program that we haven't used before, we'll give you the criteria so that you can program it in to your system. Okay, now we also, the special gift here is, there's a little bonus, is that we are doing around-the-clock research at the moment, looking for the absolute best charts, which means literally I'm going through all of the stocks that come up in our scans and putting them, every single one on a watch list from the last 2 weeks. I have a watch list of about 200 stocks at the moment, and we are going through every single one. We're looking at every single stock, all of the insider trading, all of the fundamentals. What we're also doing is we're going in and not only looking to see if there's insider selling, but we're actually going in and looking at every insider who's sold and then going back and looking at their personal trading record of the last 3 years of every time they've ever bought and sold a stock that they've been part of. So an insider could be an insider on 3 different companies. We go back past the last three years and say, whenever that insider bought and sold before, did the stock suddenly go up 50% or down 50%? And if so, that makes that insider's action they've taken recently much more valuable. If I start to see an insider who seems to make 50% every time he buys a stock, then I'm going to pay much more attention to that action the next time he buys than one who doesn't make any good decisions. So we are going down through very granular analysis to bring you the best possible shorts for when this market crashes, and you will get that report, and that'll be our special gift tonight, and that is where last time we did this report, as I said, was the Christmas wish list, which I don't know why that keeps disappearing, but anyway, that was the Excel document I showed you before. Okay. Also, you'll get the option to add our live classes for $9. That's for a month of live classes. So basically, on top of the course, we will also hold lessons every Tuesday, Thursday live. That's what we just finished before we started tonight, and this goes for an hour. It's all recorded. Of course, you can attend live, but it is recorded and sent out immediately after if you can't attend. And this is where basically on all of the stocks that we send out, we will, and all the stocks that we're currently trading, we will review those, as well as any new stocks we're looking to enter or exit, an ongoing review of the market conditions, and this it's $9 that you can add on. It's called the Smart Money Scanner. You'll see for $9 you can add that after you enroll for the course at the link below. And that's well worth a try, just to have a look at kind of what types of results we get on a consistent basis. Everyone can toot their horn and say how wonderful they are. I'll try to not do that. I believe results really speak for themselves going forward, and I think this is a wonderful month. And if you're ever going to give Acorn a try, this is the best month to do it, because this is what we've been waiting for quite a long time, and everything seems to have come into fruition the way we wanted it to as of today. It's really started to confirm itself. So you'll be armed with the very best scan that we use to identify all of the shorts that I take in my personal portfolio. All come from the scan that you're going to learn. Is it a course that only for people that trade options? Absolutely not. I am not an options expert. I do not trade credit spreads, iron condors. I do not sell options. All I do is I look for an excellent stock trade where I can see a 12 to 20% move happening, and then I'll go and buy a slightly out of the money option about 4 months out that has implied volatility around 50% or less, and half decent volume. And that's as complicated as I get with my option strategy. We are stock experts first and foremost, not option experts. What we are here to do is to find you stocks that have very high probabilities of going up or down, 10, 15, 20%. In the current market conditions, we're looking for bigger moves. In the current market conditions, we're looking for 30, 40% moves, where we can buy, 6-month expiration options, where we're looking to make, 3, 4, 5, 600% returns. So we'll be picking, a highly selected group of positions we can sit and hold, because the assumption is that the position should just keep dropping. Let's just have a look, see if there's yes, and absolutely liquidity as well. So these are some of the things you'll learn in the extra lessons we added to this course. Overview of the smart money patterns, why they rank the highest in all market conditions. So we're going to teach you what the highest probability patterns are that we look for. The core characteristics of high probability patterns, how to identify precise entry and exit points. Just to give you an idea, if you've ever heard the term sell in May and go away, I think that's a load of rubbish. I've been traveling for the last 8 months through Mexico, Australia. I'm in Canada currently. My office is wherever I put my laptop down. And most of the research that we'd use is all scanning. So you can, when you have a good scan that says, hey, here's a Head and Shoulders, and you know the rules that if it breaks 10, there's an 80% probability it'll get down to 8, then you can pre-program that all at night. And I can tell you for a fact that over 90% of the trades I do are all, are all programmed at night. I am very rarely ever in front of the screen when I buy a stock or sell a stock. The only time I'm in front of the screen to enter or exit a position is if it's a highly volatile option and I'm trying to get the best price. Let's say that there's a big spread and I can't just pre-program it. Then I'll be in front of the screen to execute. But most of the time, it's all pre-programmed. Can you scan with TOS? You certainly can. When will you be doing this course? You get the course absolutely instantly. So the course material you get on demand. And we actually just did a live lesson teaching the scans. I mentioned that the first lesson in this course is teaching the scans. We just did a brand new one last night for this specific course that you'll get. So it's all live market conditions. And as you watch the first lesson, you will actually get to see all of the positions we picked out as we ran the scan live last night and went through all the research and teaching that we would do to pick out which one we liked. Okay. So yeah, you get that instantly. The live classes are every Tuesday, Thursday. Now, Diane, I know you're in here because I've been seeing you comment. I'll share with you her little review she gave us. I truly am so glad to have found you guys. I share that when anyone asks. I do think you could possibly throw in some statistics to let people know how successful your selections were in the Christmas wish list and probably the other classes you do. That's why I started sharing those. We never used to publish results because most of the time people don't believe them. But I shared that with you today so you can see what type of things we have done here with these types of market conditions. Here's another one on a similar track. I forgot to mention that I've doubled my accounts with your trader recommendations from Big One class and Christmas wish list. That's helped my confidence too, but not in the way the class has. I don't want you to think that by getting into this course, you're buying results. We certainly want to provide great results for you. But my focus is that if you learn how to trade properly with great understanding of the core things, support, resistance, oscillation versus momentum, and does that give us a great pattern, yes or no? What are the rules for it? That can summarize my entire trading strategy. Focus on good education, you will always get great results, usually, right? Yes, it is $97 for all 4 classes. So don't focus on the numbers, focus on the training, and that's why I focus so much on teaching you the theory behind our results tonight. Just another one. This is to one of our office managers. Hi, Kyle. Just wanted to tell you guys how impressed I am with your please aim with your services. The risk on return includes commissions, or return on risk. Sorry, you and Strath and Joe make a perfect trifecta. I'll skip through some of those, but yeah. So do we get 4 videos to watch? You'll get the yes, you will, and the live class invitations as well every Tuesday, Thursday. Are the videos downloadable so that we can watch it offline? Yes, if you'd like to, we can make that available for you. That's no problem. And also, once you've attended this class, you can attend it for free again in the future. So every time, if the market, let's say the market only goes down 80 points, and then it rallies again, or 100 points, and then it rallies again. And let's say that we don't get the big one until next month or the month after. Well, then we'll run another live perfect storm lesson, and you'll get invited to that for free as well. So last night we did another new lesson for live market conditions, and we invited everyone who'd purchased this course all the way back to July of last year to come and watch it again, complimentary.